know, signs and symbols are key elements in visual language. Semiology is the term used for the science of signs, which was explicated or propounded by Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. We see signs everywhere. Most are much of our communication relies on signs. Okay, so that is how important semiotics is. Influence of semiotics in communication. So we will approach the topic in two parts. In the first part, we will look at theoretical approaches and understanding of semiotic analysis. And in the second part, we will look at the influence and importance of visuals as the foundational basis of signs and symbols. As we know, signs and symbols are key elements in visual language because nowadays, if we looked at digital media platforms, because of digital media platforms, our visibility and visuality has also been increased. And if we just take everyday example, now if you think back a little, then you will realize that on WhatsApp, you usually never communicate without using an emoji, which is a visual phenomenon, right, which has been proliferated by digital media platforms and social medias and stuff like that. Okay, so we will go into that detail in the second part. In the first part, as I have said, we will focus on theoretical approaches, three theoretical approaches to semiotic analysis. First is Ferdinand, second is Peirce, and third is Robert Berthes. Like they have used different ways and components of in their study of signs and symbols. Okay, so like basic understanding uh, is required so that we can apply it in our everyday life as well as in our academic pursuit and stuff like that. Okay, so as we know, signs and symbols are key elements in visual language, just like in any other forms of communication. Now, without further ado, let me move straight to the topic. Now, semiology is the term used for the science of signs, which was explicated or propounded by Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. Now, during this time, there was a different sign of signs, semiotics, which was first elaborated by the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce. So they were both semiology and that of semiotics were propounded more or less at the same time. And semiotics is the term now generally used to refer to both these systems, that of Ferdinand and that of Peirce. Now, both these semiotics and that of semiology are concerned with how meaning is generated in text. If we looked at media, text can encompass any forms of content. It can be films, it can be visual, it can be audio, it can be any form of like contents as we understand, and even work of art. So, drawing from Ferdinand de Saussure's semiology, Robert Berthes, another seminal figure in semiotics and structuralism, extended semiotic analysis to demonstrate that meaning operates on multiple levels. Now, for instance, Berthes used what we like Denotation and connotation, we all know that, right? Denotation is something that we all know. I hold up this pen and all of you know that this is a pen. That is what the image denotes. But that image that you see bring with it an associated meaning. That meaning is what we call connotation. Connotation is never the same for every one of us. For example, when I see this pen, the associated meaning that it brings with it for me may be different for you. So connotation is never the same. The like in other words, the associated meaning that it brings along is never the same for anyone. So that is being conditioned and shaped by our culture, our experience, our education, you name it, and it can be shaped and molded by different aspects of life and environment. All right. So Saucer's book titled "A Course on General Linguistics" suggests the possibility of semantic analysis, and he said in his book that the linguistic science unites not a thing and a name, but a concept and a sound image. How will we explain sound image? Okay, let me use one example. Now, during monsoon season, we used to hear lots of thunder, thunder, like the sound of thunder. Now, when we hear a loud sound of thunder, we know don't need to look outside our window to see to see anything, but hearing the sound of thunder tells us that it is raining heavily outside, right? That is what we call sound image. Okay, this is a signifier, and the understanding that it brings along is what we call signified. Thunder signified rain. So I call the combination, he father said, Saucer father said that I call the combination of a concept and a sound image a sign. But in current usage, the term generally designates only sound image. Now, Saucer divide his study of sign into two components. First, as we have already mentioned, is the signifier, the sound image, thunder, a person who shouts. Now, when a person is shouting, then we know that he is angry. So that is the signifier. A loud voice, a harsh voice, or whatever it is, that signifies that a person is angry, and the signified is the concept. And the relationship between the two is arbitrary. Now, Pierce, on the other hand, focus on three aspects of science. First is iconic, something which can be seen, something which is very visible when you see someone, a prominent singer in your community, or a prominent, a popular dancer, or certain things which are very visible, iconic status. Now, next is indexical. Indexical is something that you can make connections with. For example, if you see smoke in a distance, even without seeing any sign of fire, then you know that there is fire somewhere. That smoke signifies that smoke creates the relation between fire and your understanding. That book tells you that, okay, there is fire somewhere. Okay, that is what we call that, with which you can make connection. That is what we call indexical. And the other one, of course, is symbolic, something convention, affect when you know the flag of a certain country, then you know that, okay, that is the flag of it represents that particular country and vice versa. Okay. Now, as I have said, iconic is signified by resemblance, a picture. It can be a picture, statue, or, for instance, I belong to the state of Mizoram. Now, if you come to Mizoram, what you will see is that, like in every locality, you will see church with cross. Then, without anyone telling you that the majority of people in Mizoram are Christians, because you see lots of church. Likewise, in any other place, for example, if you see mostly temples, okay, so majority of the resident are Hindus, or if you see mosques in most places, then those can also be what we call, can also serve as what we call iconic, okay, which can be seen, something which can be seen. And the next one, of course, is indexical. It is signified by true causal connection, like as I have given you, fire and smoke, which can be figured out. Okay, you see a smoke somewhere in a distance, then you know without anyone telling you that there is fire somewhere, okay, in fire nearby. Now, next is symbolic, which is signified by convention, flex, which has to be learned. Okay, now peers are good that interpreters have to supply parts of the meanings of signs. You is the interpreter. Okay, so he said that interpreters have an important role to play in providing an understanding of the meanings of science and stuff like that. He said that science is something which stands to somebody for something in some respect or capacity. Now, semantics is important because the universe perfumes with science, if not composed exclusively of science. We see science everywhere. Much of our communication relies on science. Okay, so that is how important semantics is. Now, I have taken this as an example. This is a political public campaign, as a political public campaign by BJP in the state elections of Tripura 2018, which was widely publicized across the state. Here, if you looked at this particular picture, you will see that a tribal girl is portrayed as Bharat Mata sitting on a lion holding Indian flag. Okay. Now, here you see that the icon is an image of a young girl seated on a lion in the foreground of Indian map. Now, the symbol here is the text Bharat Mata. Now, in this dictum, the icon is the image of a young girl seated on a lion in the foreground of another picture of India map. The symbol in the text Bharat Mata is the symbol, and the icons are analyzed first and then the symbols. In the icon, a young girl wearing traditional attires of the state's four major tribal communities is seated over a lion in the foreground of a map of Indian territory filled with a gradient of Indian tricolor. The depiction is a departure from the usual portrayal of Bharat Mata, a personified icon representing India. Now, uh, the replacement of the original Bharat Mata with a tribal girl creates an analogy with icon of Bharat Mata that signifies recognition of otherwise tribal society, tribal community. empowerment and sense of inclusivity. So that is because of the relationship between the representum and object, the interpretant is the icon conveys that the otherwise neglected tribal also form a part of Indian Union and deserve the same recognition as the rest of India. This is what how you can interpret and empowerment through empowerment, inclusion, and recognition. This is what they try to make people interpret. Okay, so the symbol is a text Bharat Mata, which forms the representum. In connection with the icon, the symbolic elevates an ordinary tribal girl to the status of the goddess that personifies the philosophy of India as a nation. It reinforces the visual message and affirms the meaning to the interpretant. Pierre's model of the relationship between representum and symbol becomes the depicted tribal girl is equivalent to the goddess and deserves equal respect, recognition, and empowerment. Okay, through elevation of status reinforcing the visual image. Okay, now another example of course is a corporate print. This is a corporate print advertisement, and the print ad title swing was done by Ambience DDRC Mumbai Advertising Agency to for product parachute advanced coconut hair oil in India, and it was released in August 2002. This is a very old advertisement, but this is a very good example for explaining Pierre's semiology. Okay, now in this dictum, the icon is background and product image. Symbol is strength. The symbol here we see is strength. Now in this dictum, the background image shows a man swinging in full force whose strings are attached to the hair of a woman with the product image placed in the foreground. This is the representum, and the logical interpretation of the representum is that the hair is strong enough to hold a heavy weight without failure. Thus, the relationship between the representum and object is the symbol, a textual description of the quality of the product states strengthens here is placed near the bottom of the product. Thus, the quality of strong hair is ascribed to the specific product to which the advertisement belongs. Pierre's models become the use of, if you want to have strong hair, use the parachute hair oil. It will give you very strong hair and it will not fall off, and such kind of things can be interpreted out of this advertisement. All right, so that is just an example. Since we have limited time, I will not go into detail on about the on examples and stuff like that. Now, basic concern here is how meaning is created and conveyed. Okay, when we talk about semantic analysis, the basic concern always is how meaning is created and conveyed. Semioticians treat text as being like language in that relationships rather than things per se are all important, and science and relationships are two of the key notions of science and relationships. You have to make connections, relate to that thing to make an understanding or interpretation out of it. So science and relationships are key components or key notions of semantics analysis. And for instance, as an example, now Texts like Star Trek can be thought of as a system of signs, and the meaning in the program stems from the signs that make up the text. Like without anyone telling you. Now, the car, if you in the Star Trek movies, you see that everywhere would be wears futuristic dresses and all these things. No, that from without anyone telling you that okay, this movie is Star Trek movie. Now you can make out that it is Star Trek because of the futuristic technologies and the dress that they wear. From that also you can just make out that it is Star Trek. Okay, so it is full of signs and symbols, signs. And for example, a meal may not be seen as merely tandoori chicken and butter naan, but as a sign system conveying meaning related to the status, taste, sophistication, and nationality and culture. Now, tandoori chicken is a Punjabi food, and butter naan is also a Punjabi food. Now, like that itself, it is not just a meal, it represents uh, one big community, their taste, then culture. Not everyone afford to eat tandoori chicken every day. If one family happen to eat tandoori chicken and butter naan on daily basis, then that also signifies the family status or wealth or whatsoever that you can interpret out of it. Okay, now semiology from the Greek semeion, sign, would show what constitutes signs, but laws govern them. This is the charter statement of semiology through which we can not only study the symbolic rites and military signals, we can also study commercials, soap operas, situations, and almost anything else as science system. Okay, so because everything is symbolic in nature, and you can see lots of signs. Now, another critical insight offered by Saucer that concepts have been um, have meaning because of relationship, and the basic relationship is oppositional. Rich does not mean rich until there is poor. Suppose if there is no term to define the rich, then there will also be no poor. No poor people. Concepts are purely differential and defined not by their positive content, but negatively by their relations with other terms of the system. Okay. Now, it is not content that determines meaning, but relations in some kind of system. Most precise characteristic of this concept is being what others are not. Signs function then not through their intrinsic value but through their relative position. Making connection, making relationship between two signs can provide you with a new an interpretation or an understanding. Now, opposing concepts must be related in some way. There is always some topic not mentioned that connects them. Rich, as we have already said, versus poor, wealth, poor, happy, mental state, happy now, mental state, happy, sad. If we don't know what being happy, then there will also be no sadness. Okay. Now, so far, semantic analysis is concerned with meaning in text, and that meaning stems from relationships, in particular, relationship between signs. Now, what is a sign? What is a sign? Combination of, according to Saucer, sign is a combination of sound, image, and concept. Concept is what it signified, and sound image is the signifier. As we've already mentioned, as we've already said, the tone of our voice, can also be a signifier which will tell people whether we are angry or sad, or whether we are calm or sad or angry. Okay, the tone of the voice can be a signifier for people, for the interpreter. Now these terms are better suited to indicate the opposition that separates them from each other and from the whole of which they are a part. Okay. Now, the relationship between the signifier and the signified is arbitrary, unmotivated, and unnatural. There is no logical connection between a word and a concept, or a signifier and the signified. For example, the word tree and the actual tree. Now, whereas the symbol is never wholly arbitrary, it is not empty, for there is a rudiment of a natural bond between the signifier and the signified. For example, the symbol of justice, a pair of scales, could not be replaced by just another symbol such as a chariot. Now, justice means like when, yeah, we don't need to go into detail explaining that. This is clear, hopefully clear for all of us. And if the relation between signifier and the signified is arbitrary, it has to be learned through structured association and codes. Star Trek multiple signifier spaceships, futuristic uniforms, advanced computer technology, signifying science, fiction, adventure. This is what it signifies. When we appropriate the signifier, we have captured the signified. Okay, this is how many commercials work. But the right product, and assume that this product will signify a certain class, lifestyle. Anyone who communicates use association between signifier and signified at all times. Okay, now currently I'm also using a system of signs. Okay, now, signs take a number of forms. Words, of course, are the most familiar. They stand for things, ideas, concepts, etc. Advertising, for example, use all kinds of signs, neon lights, molded plastic, paint, and other materials, and forms, words and image, and glow in advertisement you may have seen like fairness cream, or glow up cream. Certainly would use a fair girl, a tan girl, for example, who was certain, and then no one is looking at her because she was 10, and then she will be told to apply the glow cream or the fairness cream for 7 days, and suddenly becomes very fair, and glowed up, and so people start noticing her. And that is full of signs and symbols. It, and also many people, many community symbolically use being fair as being fair to signify what? A beautiful woman or stuff like that. Okay, it's like what now. Then many advertisements are telling us through their myths that what you have is not enough, what you are is not enough. You need to use that particular cream so that you become fair in 7 days, and you will become a person worth looking at. Okay, that is the myth that advertisers are telling us through the signs and symbols that they incorporated in their campaigns. Okay, there can be lots of examples that we can cite, and the nature of the signs, the design and materials tells us whether they upscale or down market. Many corporations use icons and symbols to establish corporate identity because it it is easy to remember an icon or a symbol. Now, material culture is made of many objects, and artifacts also serve as signs and convey a great deal of information. We read people in real life, or in the media mediated text, looked at hairstyles, clothes, shoes, ornaments. These objects are signs meant to convey certain notions about what these people are like. Similarly, where they are located, their body language, even their garbage. Nowadays, garbage, like in affluent neighborhood, people just place usable old stuffs on their outside of their house for any person to pass by, to take it and stuff like that. Okay. Now, music and sound effects are used to generate certain responses in audience based on culturally acknowledged association between given sounds and certain emotions. A musical phrase or sound is a signifier, and the emotion, the signify, and the emotion is what it signified. This association is arbitrary based on convention. Okay, signs can be used as much to lie as to tell the truth, as much to tell the truth as to manipulate people. Okay, now another, as we have mentioned, apart from Saucer and Peirce, there is Robert Berthes, who developed the concept of denotation and connotation to explain how meaning is produced in language, image, and cultural context, drawing from Ferdinand de Saucer's distinction between the signifier, the form, and the signified, the concept. Berthes extended semantic analysis to demonstrate that meaning operates on multiple levels. Now, denotation refers to the literal, descriptive, or explicit meaning of a sign, the common sense surface level interpretation that appears object and universal, what you know when you see an object or when you see anything. It is often described as what you see is what you get level. Now, for example, a photograph of a red rose denotes a specific flower species, what denotes its dictionary definition. A red rose denotes is a flower, a specific flower species, but there is another level. Now, connotation refers to the cultural, ideological, or associative meanings that overlay the denotative level, social context, cultural norms, historical circumstances, and individual subjectivity shape these meanings. The meaning that you created out of an image can be shaped by social context, cultural norms, historical circumstances, and individual subjectivity. Okay. Now, connotation transforms the sign into a carrier of deeper, often implicit significance. Using the same example of a red rose, a red rose can connote for some people romance, passion, or love, meanings that are culturally constructed rather than inherent to the flower itself. For many community, red rose may represent love. Red rose may represent love between love interest or stuff like that. Okay, how do you denote it? Ask yourself, you will know better. Now, Berthes second order, I don't think that we need to go into too much detail now, because there are still lots of things that I wanted to talk about, so I'll just skip this portion. So hope that it is clear to you. Since I provided the presentation, you can follow whatever I have gone through. No, so I have talked about. So So level when it in terms of level, the first order, of course, is denotation, the literal descriptive meaning, the signifier by the signified. Second is the second order is connotation, the cultural meaning attached to the sign. Your interpretation of something based on which is shaped and influenced by your culture experience, and any other prejudices or personal subjectivity that you may have. Okay. Now, further, Berthet's denotation is not truly neutral. Rather, it is a connotation that has become so naturalized that it appears as objective reality. Okay, keep that in mind. This is connotation. The next level is what dictates us. Now, this walk reveals. I saw one very interesting IG reels today, this morning. No, so now in one place it was written no parking, and under that penalty 250. But everyone would come and park and things like that. When the owner like try to uh, uh, talk to them and tell them that this is a no parking zone, and then it is written here 250 fine if you violate these rules. But this guy cut off the no in the no parking rupees 250, and he also cut off penalty and then parking rupees 250. Now everyone run off, they don't want to park there. So like you can may come across certain interesting examples on the social media as well. And this walk reveals how seemingly innocent representations in advertisements, news media, or everyday language carry ideological weight, often reinforcing dominant power structures. Okay. Now, moving on to the next second part is the importance of visuals in communication. Visuals are full of signs and symbols. Now, we know that the use of social media and internet, for that matter, is largely a visual experience, while early social media tools and platforms were largely text-based. Text as in written text. Okay, images and videos are key to today's digital society. With the proliferation of digital media platforms, the way we communicate has also become very image and video oriented. And then if you looked at particularly IG, Instagram, you realize that this is a visual based social media. But then it is extremely popular among the Gen Z and the youth. Now, so our visuality has been increased by the proliferation of digital media. Now, just as with other social forms, just such as the communities and networks, the focus on capturing, watching, and sharing image and audio-visual content is not something entirely new, but rather the pattern has been intensified, as I have said, intensified in the digital society that we now live. The digital media platform has intensified our use of visual contents. Okay. Now, anyhow, ours is a glimpse world, and this interesting quote was given to us by Nadine Gordimer, who said that watching is the most important form of comprehension. Okay. Now, very often we think of people we think of how people see of us as double E of us. The image that we project are more important than what we really are. Image not only depict reality, they validate reality. Now, when visitors see a city, say New York, for the first time, they immediately compare the real thing with what they saw in the movies or in a photograph. The image run ahead of reality and can become more important. As an example, a neighbor, when seeing a baby for the first time, may exclaim, "Oh, what a beautiful baby!" Then the mother, let us say, replied, "That's nothing. You should see her photographs." That is how visuals we are. Okay, we very often say, as pretty as a picture, the image has become more important, more powerful than the real thing. Now, many people assume that photo manipulation is a byproduct of Adobe Photoshop, or they are surprised to learn that photo manipulation goes back as early as the 1860s. Visual Visual communication as a process with its elements like message, mediation, interpretation, reaction, denotation, connotation, myth, and ideology need to be considered. Picture manipulation in its neutral application is nothing more than a description of how visual journalists do their professional best. Every journalist manipulates a scene in the field by choosing camera angle and focal point, and by editing the tape or cropping the still back in at the office. Okay, visual manipulation, it is because this is how we see things, but this is how our camera see things. So manipulation is to a certain extent unavoidable, but then there are certain things which may amount to unethical and stuff like that. Okay, but manipulation become ethically problematic when the resulting product deceives or cheats the viewers. Now, this nearly iconic portrait is in the form of lithograph of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, is a composite of Lincoln's head and the Southern politician John Calhoun's body. Now, a contextual framework of visuality and visibility. Now, as we have already said, why we need to understand signs and symbols, the importance of understanding signs and symbols is that because our visibility and visuality has been intensified in the digital society or in the digital media age that we live in. Visuality and visibility are traits of digital society. On platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and others, we may also enter our personal photos and videos into flows that blur private and public boundaries. In the online platforms, people engage in a vast number of different subgenres where different narrative pleasures are developed. For instance, platforms like Instagram and YouTube are simply online archives where one can find virtually any type of photo or video. There are some subgenres on there that are of specific interest in relation to this topic, how people relate to each other and the world around them in digital society. For two examples of such genres are selfies and personal YouTube videos. Aside from the ability to share image and video clips, the internet has also given rise to a number of other unique visual phenomena such as avatars, emoji, memes, GIFs, reels, POV, and the particular types of stories, Snapchat stories, Instagram stories, that combine several of these formats. Why we need to look at these visual phenomena is because they are full of signs and symbols that can be interpreted using the theories that we have already discussed in the first part. Okay. To understand deeper meanings behind these forms of visual communication online is to use analytical strategies. For instance, selfies can be approached with the contextual framework of technologies of the self conceptualized by philosopher Michael Foucault. Now, next, YouTube videos can be approached using anthropologists Patricia Langes and John Suler's online disinhibition effect can be used as a contextual framework for the study of emoji. Now, think back a little. When you communicate on daily basis with your friends, you would rarely do it without using an emoji sign, a thumbs up, a smile, or any kinds of emojis. Because if you don't include it, you may feel uneasy that, okay, the person who received your message might, if she is a good or he or she is a good, like a good friend, a close friend. Now, if you talk to her serious without emojis, then she may feel that, okay, why is my friend becoming so serious? Is there something wrong? Is there something bothering him or stuff like that? Okay, so we make nowadays it is become part and parcel of our everyday uh, communication or conversation with our friends. So that's how important this visual phenomena is now in our lives. Memes is a very powerful forms of communication nowadays. It is full of signs and symbols. You have to interpret the message that it brings with it. Okay. Now, linguist Roman Jacobson's six factors of speech, events, and six functions of language can be used for analyzing different forms of visual experience. You can subtleize the experience of these visual phenomena that we have mentioned. There is something sometimes talk of visual turn in the social and cultural science, meaning meaning that there has been increased in how image and visuals, photographs and videos affect how we experience culture and how we interact with each other. Visual turn may be understood as a shift in emphasis in the humanities and social science towards an increasing concern with the importance of the visible. It is usually seen as having gained prominence in the 90s and as having succeeded the linguistic turn. We no longer write and send letter to with each other. Those are the days when the linguist turn was enjoying its prominence. Again, John Louis Comolli claimed even that it was the very basis of sociality. Image painting, symbols, and visualization are what hold society together and had done so since the very beginning. Now, however, Comolli himself and other so-called postmodern thinkers, such as socialist John Baudrillard, who use concepts like hyperreality and simulation, argued that representation and reproduction are key mechanisms in postmodern society. The idea is that since the last few decades of the 20th century, there has been an explosion of visual culture, where pictures and videos have assumed a dominant position. This is a consequence of development of film and cinema, television, color printing, advertising, video, computers, and so on. Now, postmodernity is what happened when modern society, as we know it during the 19th and 20th centuries, entered into a form of cultural crisis, and Nicholas Mirzoeff claims this as a visual crisis of culture, and this made the postmodern condition emerge where there is cultural tendency towards a prominence of imagery. This visual turn demands that New perspectives are developed to understand the new modes of expression as the model of textuality might no longer be working. So, philosopher Regis Debray uh, argues that we now live in the videosphere. Videosphere, an era of computer graphics and audiovisual content, which is marked by an instantaneity of messages. It can be claimed that the smartphone age means that visuals are increasingly captured in everyday settings and in places like bedrooms, bathrooms, and kitchens. The traditional media photography, shots of talking heads in new studios or of styled and prepared presenters or actors is challenged by a rich stream of personal vernacular photographs and videos. Now, in summary, I would like to point that in recent decades, both society and social science research have taken a turn towards the visual. This means that society has come to rely more and more on easily accessible and spreadable forms of visual communication, while the increasingly visual character of society and culture is not a consequence of digital tools and platforms uniquely, but they have no doubt, through the introduction of mobile cameras, platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Snapchats, and others, given it a boost. More and more social institutions are visually documented, and this documentation is circulated among growing audience. This increase in visuality and use of visual communication necessitated the study of signs and symbols as much as before.
Would like Dr. Kimi to first reflect upon the development of this science itself. We call the those who study semiotics as semioticians. So, how could you just give us some insight about how this semiotics is developing, and what are the new insights that we have gained?
As I have mentioned in the uh, first slides or in the first slides here. So like the system that Ferdinand Saussure worked on upon was called semiology, and simultaneously another American professor, Charles Sanders Peirce, worked on the same system, like the study of science of science. He called it semiotics, but together with the passage and the development and all these things with Robert Bertays and others who based his studies on Saussure, came up with this semantic analysis that we understand as of now.
And
Hello.
when we, yes, when we interpret these symbols and signs, recently in Kerala and also in, I think, in many other states, the black is considered as a symbol of protest. And in some many public places, those wearing the black dress, they were denied entry. So, do you think that this when things sometimes go out of control, that when there is some symbol which the society comes to accept, and when it is a kind of negative symbol or image, does it lead to kind of misinterpretation or some kind of fear in the minds of people?
I feel that okay, your question itself answers the importance of the study of signs and symbols, because as Robert Berthes mentioned, all our our connotation understanding of things that can be seen, something not the denotation but connotation actually guides our interaction and our everyday conversation and all these things. But this connotation is shaped by so many things, what he said, our culture, the community from where we belong to, and what else, our personal subjectivity and prejudices. These actually shapes these things actually shapes how we interpret what we see. No, so not denotation. When you see, as I have said earlier, when we see a pen, everyone knows that it is a pen. But then the associated meaning that seeing that pen gives us differ from person to person. So there is a need to educate people so that their understanding and interpretation changes, which conforms to certain, how will I say, positive interactions. Okay, so it's important because educating people about certain things, negative things, would be required for us to in and I mean how we see things, no? So yeah, in a way that the questions that you posted, you mentioned in the question itself, you already mentioned the importance of the study of signs and symbols. Hope that I hope that it is understandable. I mean, hope that you understand what I mean to say, because all this personal subjectivity influence how we interpret things. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, yes. And another aspect we would like to you to reflect on is how does these symbols and signs how is it being discussed in our education circles? These are used in public places, but is there any scientific study done in our academic institutions about how what kind of impact it makes on the society, and how it can have both negative and positive connotations, and the symbols, especially in the use in cinema and the mass media.
No, science and everything that we see on daily basis is full of signs and symbols. To elaborate on your question, I have used one example. No, rose, red rose. We know that when we see a red rose, we know that it is a specific flower species, but that seeing that rose bring with itself an associated meaning. For many society, for many community, red rose may represent specific things. Like handshaking itself also represent a different thing. Now, the way we communicate differs from one community to the other. That itself shapes and mold our interpretation of things. But as far as my understanding of semiotics analysis is concerned, it is purely based on social science research. Other than that, I don't know any scientific physical science or any other science streams. I cannot talk, how will I say, for that. I don't know. I am unaware of any other study of science and symbols apart from social science research.
Do you think this whole thing has evolved only in the past 100 years or so, 100 or maximum 200 years? This concept of semiotics itself as a science, or is it?
As a field of study, it is of recent this thing development. But signs and symbols, as long as human existence is concerned, we have always communicated using signs and symbols alone. The whole semiotic analysis, semiotology, semiotics has always been there throughout the history of human race, but as a field of study, it is of recent development.